Good morning. I've arrived in Manchester this morning to look around the creative spaces here. I'm meeting up with Michael Trainor, Artistic Director of LeftCoast and artist in his own right. He's going to show me around some of the spaces that he's involved in Manchester and some of the spaces that he's been involved in the past. So I met up with Michael for coffee and conversation before he took me for a tour around the Northern Quarter. We started off at a business that Michael's involved in called the Department Store, which houses many creative businesses. The first department store tenant we met was Naughty, a recently opened skate shop that had mass appeal to the youth market. We next went to the Richard Goodall Gallery, which is that established now. It's managed to open 2 stalls in the area. Another of the tenants that Michael introduced me to was Wendy Jones, who was also a co-director as well as a potter. She had a studio space in one of the parts of the building, and I found it fascinating to see her space where she not only worked but delivered workshops as well as sold her goods. I was also privileged to visit another tenant's studio space. This time it was printer Rachel Hardacre, who was dead friendly and showed me around her space and also discussed conducting joint projects in Blackpool with Blackpool-based printers. MadLab, who have a keen interest in innovation, have 2 premises on the block. One of them is a shop where they sell inventions and interesting goods, and the other is a gallery space, and at the time of visiting, Stockport students were exhibiting there. Another creative space I was lucky enough to see was Manchester's Art and Design Centre, an old converted market that allowed artists and makers to sell as retailers as well as exhibit their work. It kind of reminded me of another space, one that I'd seen closer to home. It just goes to show what you can do with an old market space, converting it into a modern contemporary retail space that has mass appeal to the public and where artists and crafters can sell their wares. As we toured the Northern Quarter, Michael told me how the area is going from strength to strength and how new businesses move here all the time. For instance, Arts Council England have moved their regional home here as it is a hive of activity. Michael also showed me past ventures and creative activities that he had been involved in, spaces that he had used, rented and created. As we toured the Northern Quarter, we discussed regeneration and the positive impact that the creative industries has on this area of Manchester. Michael asked if such a thing could happen in Blackpool, if there was such an area that could become Blackpool's Northern Quarter. I said there was an area that I had in mind, the South Shore area of Blackpool, a once thriving retail experience that has now gone downhill. These days the area is not full of empty shops, it's full of bookies, graffiti and beautiful buildings that have been left to ruin. Michael told me how the Northern Quarter was once an area populated by markets and retail units, but in order to survive it had to change, and the first couple of creators moved in to take over derelict buildings. I said to Michael that this area of Blackpool was once thriving. We had a Woolworths and Everlostons, major retailers. We even had restaurants that local celebrities and politicians would come and visit. Like the early days of the Northern Quarter, Blackpool's South Shore area has seen a creative move in, the first one being the Spirit of Bohemia, a vintage shop selling arts and crafts, which really is a breath of fresh air to the area. So, could the Spirit of Bohemia be the first of many creative businesses to come and settle in the area? I think so. With the right encouragement, investment, business rates, and of course enthusiastic creatives, this area could become our very own Northern Quarter and something very special. So let's get creative, Blackpool.